4 more days for the fellas shirts, Boys Moving Company, and also these are restocked and all the other ones are restocked too. Check it out. Fellas tour is coming to Charlotte, Greensboro, Raleigh, Washington, Pittsburgh, Syracuse, Albany, West Nyack, Edmonton, Jacksonville. Don't tune out because we added some. Miami, San Jose, Tacoma, Chicago, Cincinnati, Columbus, Los Angeles, the City of Angels.
Yeah.
The Improv, I believe it is, and Phoenix and Plano. Throw the channel a subscribe, and let's go.
BOYSCAST.
You can tell our friends,
The bros, the dudes, the homies.
dead.
BOYSCAST is the dogs, the bunts, the bruvs, amigos.
It's when we're dead.
I like the orchestra.
I love you. What to do? You got me bound. Make my world.
I think the orchestra stays, but we'll get rid of that part. I need to make a new one every time. It's yet to be seen what I'm gonna do. I have big plans for this intro business. Once I started getting in the lab,
You made you people fucking made your bed.
you created a monster. Want to hear? Okay, so I'm basically on. I took a red-eye flight again back because I had a whole debacle. There's a lot of interesting stuff. I think we're gonna talk about the Patreon because we have some real stuff to talk about here. But the I know. So I haven't seen you. I just got back, but the pretty cool thing happened on a plane. It was sort of like a moment. You know those sites that like how everyone's documenting on the internet bad, like this, everyone's just canceling everyone.
Yeah.
And then there's sites every now and then will be like, some old man that bought some guy candy or whatever.
Like, is there a doctor on board?
Yeah, I don't know
someone
about a
dies?
doctor on board.
Well, like if someone has a heart attack?
No, I was thinking that it'll be like they do nice deeds. It'll be like, 2 guys from the Crips that helped an old lady down the stairs.
Yeah.
they show that there's good people out there too,
Sure,
right?
yeah.
Well, anyways, I took the red eye, right? And then I was trying to get some fucking crinks in me because I knew that I was the only way that I was going to sleep a bit, right? And I probably didn't get to sleep because I started
Did you
crinking.
say crinks?
Yeah, drinks. It's a slang that you don't need to keep
Did
up.
you
You never
just-
said that?
I've never heard crinks.
Yeah, that's old school. Me
Okay.
and my buddies slang. You want to get some fucking crinks? And another thing is, the biggest one is saying that calling every bodega convenience store a Chase store.
Chase store,
That's the
no.
other one.
This is Ajax, Ontario.
Well, I sprung for the extra legroom, and I had this this Indian guy beside me. We got to chatting a little bit, and then it was the thing where you have to have your credit card hooked up to buy anything, right?
Yeah.
And this guy was trying to buy food and drinks or whatever, and it was he was getting into it with the people. And then I basically said to the woman, I was like, yeah, you can put his on my tab. It's all good or whatever. And he was like, I'll try to, let me pay you. And I was like, no, it's whatever, right?
Yeah.
So it's probably like $15 I was just paying for this guy's stuff, right? Because I've been him before,
Of course.
And then then whatever it all paid for, and then 5 minutes later the lady came back. She goes, "By the way, I didn't charge your credit card because that was like really nice of you to offer to pay for his stuff, so I just didn't charge either of you."
Nice.
No, that's a
And
win.
then, but you told him, you still owe me the 15 though. So it comes out ahead.
Never caught it on.
The guy goes, what did you owe? You go, I think it was 20. Just send me 15.
20? Just send me 25. Let's call it a day.
Yeah, those credit card processing fees are high on the airplanes. So.
So if you don't mind subbing to the BOYSCAST YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And he's like, haha. I'm like, no, seriously, give me your
No,
phone.
seriously, yeah, we're gonna leave. You're leaving reviews for everything.
Yeah, you give me a 5-star review on iTunes. You give me a BOYSCAST YouTube channel. Also at the airport, there was this woman, probably one of the best things I've seen. This girl, I know she's from Canada. So I was in the restaurant, and there was this woman talking to this old, probably 70-year-old immigrant dude, right? They got to chatting at the bar, and I got to eavesdropping at the bar.
Yeah, you did.
And she was telling him all about how the abortion stuff's so bad, right? And she's from Canada. I know a lot about this girl. I listened to them talk for about 20, 25 minutes, right? This guy could barely speak English, and this girl was going in, saying all this stuff, and she was like, and they're taking the bodily autonomy away, and the guy goes, oh yeah. This guy wanted nothing to do with it, right? And then at some point, she goes, and you know what? Even Colombia just elected its first liberal politician. So it's just so good. And then the guy goes, Colombia, a very corrupt place. And he started telling her about the corruption.
Started shitting on Colombia.
Yeah,
He was telling about Colombia.
Well,
lady.
his kind of take was this guy sitting at the bar was basically the 80-year-old man was
Yeah.
basically telling her that it doesn't matter who's in charge; those places are pretty corrupt, right? And she was like, "Well, if it's gonna be corrupt," and then at one point she goes, "What liberal means to me is standing up for human." And she was doing all this, and I was watching this 80-year-old, maybe 70, right? But
How old is she?
28. Wacky hairdo, the whole fucking ball of wax.
What liberal means to
I'll tell you what
me.
she wasn't though. To be fair to her, she was like nice. She wasn't.
Yeah.
She wasn't like smug.
Okay.
She was trying to be nice. She was more like wacky than she was annoying.
Okay.
But
good, at
I'm
least.
sure this guy was annoying. Annoyed. But at one point she goes, "This is what liberals mean to me, and what Republican means to me is all about money and just corporations." And the guy was like, "Yeah, the Colombia is very corrupt." He just kind of kept saying. The fun I'm watching some fun conversations over there.
That sounds good.
And
Sounds like a bit of a punch.
okay, how about this for a sketch? So I was thinking that, it's very PC for cultural appropriation. Like you're not supposed to cultural appropriate, right?
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah. So which is why I go outside of a Dreamcatcher stores, and then any white person that tries to come in, I sort of act like a bouncer at Dreamcatcher stores.
Get back to the nightmare store, pal.
Yeah, it's like basically some like native person selling outside of a reserve, and I go, no, your business is no good here, and they go, no, I promise you, my business is good here. Right? But it was making me laugh, like someone that being in the KKK, where they were saying like it's racist to culturally appropriate. So then the KKK starts being like, well, we're racist, so then I guess we'll culturally appropriate. And then the KKK starts wearing all like basically by the end of it, the KKK is wearing like rapper clothes, and they've got like a headdress on.
Just everything? Just like an amalgamation of all the things?
I was laughing by the end of the KKK. It's just 5 guys, white guys in African garb. And they're
Like
just
the
like,
dashikis
they
and-
told us this is so racist. And they go, maybe the KKK shouldn't be wearing dashikis. And I was like, I'm telling you, they told me this was the most...
Can't be more racist than this move right here, right now.
Yeah, you think the White Hoods are racist? I just read an article that said there's nothing more racist than us wearing these dashikis. And it's the entire KKK. They're basically the village people now, right?
I just like that your search history on Amazon is like KKK outfits. Where to buy KKK.
KKK outfit and a dashiki.
Yeah, a dashiki.
Yeah, I was at a
Amazon straight up
crossroads.
like, are you sure you want these 2 items together?
Yeah, so the one guy in the KKK is like, boss, I feel like this is a bad look for them. It's like, oh, is it then? Because I thought we were racist. They're British now. Yeah. And then he goes, well, then what is this article about there's nothing more racist than, white men wearing headdresses and sombreros? KKK is all in sombreros instead of the hoods.
They got to do one hat, like, because, you had the joke of, everybody has the hats. There needs to be one ultra racist hat where it's every hat combined into one.
Oh, yeah.
Every head thing into one thing.
It's sort of a sombrero hat.
Sombrero, headdress, yarmulke, turban.
Yeah.
Just everything all at once.
It's the ultimate cultural appropriator. Like, no one can cultural appropriate like this
like
guy.
this hat right here.
Oh, there's no culture. This guy. That's not. Remember when they made the Karen movie?
Yes.
Maybe those kind of. That would be like the people who do the rip-offs of the Key and Peele guy movies, because they always do worse versions of his.
Yeah.
He does the black horror movies, but his are actually good.
His are good. Yeah.
Yeah, they do ones where it's the appropriator. There's nothing that this guy can't appropriate. So basically, there's some. There's like an Indian family next door, and then they're like, hey, I smell someone making curry, and then he comes out wearing a turban. He goes, hello. You go, oh, you wear a turban too? He goes, maybe I do, maybe I don't. And then he sort of disappears, and then in the middle of the night, it's like it's raining and thundrstorms, and you just see like a light, and then he's in the window, just
like
a flash with a sombrero.
Yeah, the lightning, and he's there.
The lightning, and he's there with a sombrero. Then the lightning again, he's there in the dashiki. The appropriator. And it's played by Clint Eastwood. So that's very scary.
Think Clint
stuff.
Eastwood will come out of retirement for that bad boy?
Yeah, the appropriator. There's nothing he won't appropriate.
You don't think maybe Tim Allen?
Tim Allen.
Especially because you'd want that to be a little lighthearted.
Yeah.
Yeah, get Tim Allen.
So yeah, that's we're thinking about that. Anyways, Pride Parade happened right outside of here. So basically my normal house and this house, our studio, is just as bad.
Yeah.
We go outside.
From one zoo to another.
We legitimately walked outside. You're fucking guy's dicks in your face.
Do I have to put it? Is part of Pride me having to put this in my mouth? All I can think of is walking by because they put out porta potties everywhere, and I know some just disgusting things that have happened in those porta potties.
Oh my God, porta potty glory hall. That's no good. There's probably some guy wearing a bondage outfit just in the bottom of the fucking potty.
Do you think the porta potty company goes, "Hey, do you want the holes pre-drilled?" Just because last year there was just all these holes, and then we had to charge.
Yeah, we had to charge you for the holes. Why don't we cut out the middle, man? And then you go, "Where'd you go?" He goes, "Down here." That's where you go to drop a deuce.
Yeah.
No, this is Danny. What would you do if you went to the porta potty and you sat down and you go, you're like, you're trying to drop a deuce, and he goes, "You got this, buddy.
You can do it.
Come on, pal."
What do we just hear? You go, little to the left. What?
Little to the left. Come on, pal. Keep him coming. You got this, buddy. He's down in there. Keep him coming. But I will say that there was more titties. So that was the question remember we walked outside.
Yeah.
And then a nice set.
There was a bunch of, yeah.
And I've been saying this for months now, that if you're going to protest, get the titties out.
Get the puppies out.
If the puppies are out, I won't even make fun of the protest that much. That's the trade-off.
No.
Because it's a little something for it's a little something for the college kids. It's a little something for the men.
We'll talk about this, but just a quick little tease of it. But at the Alex Stein protest, titties were out.
Oh yeah, so Danny was at
one set of puppies.
Danny was
out,
at the Alex Stein.
So hilarious.
Danny was at the stand, and there was a big protest. Yeah, he fucking.
But the idea, they're like, all these people are protesting Alex Stein, and then one chick's like,
dude, there's like 100 people there.
No, there was like probably 15 or 20. But at
signs.
the max, they went and got all this cardboard because they were marching for Pride. They were just hanging out for Pride. Then I get caught wind that Alex Stein was in town.
Okay.
And then so it was an impromptu protest. So then they went to a dumpster.
Impromptu protest at Pride too, because I guess it was pretty easy to get people fired up, right? Like, they just go into Pride. They're like, "You're never gonna guess what I just found out. There is a bigot."
Yes, dude, that was one of the signs. Is this these people are bigots or whatever? But they went to the dumpster and came back with all these just broken down cardboard boxes, and then they're cutting up the cardboard boxes into sign size, and they had Sharpies, but they didn't have all their tools, like no bike locks.
They had to go impromptu.
They're kind of declawed, if you will.
If you think about it, though, if most people, at least at Pride, are probably rocking out pretty hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Getting drunk, doing drugs.
These guys were all drinking.
When I was walking to the stand that night, I saw a guy that was sitting on the side of the road with his boyfriend, had his arm around him, and he was bawling his eyes out. Oh. And I think my guess was he did too many drugs to seem like that. Right?
Yeah, it was that.
Like one too many poppers. Good. You know what I mean? But so everyone's rocking out. But can you imagine? You're on a float, swinging your dick around. And then you get like the signal.
Yeah, the Stein signal, the bigot signal.
The bigot signal, and then you gotta leave whatever you're doing. There's some guy that just pops the dick out of his mouth.
It's funny because it was growing in size, and we were just watching. We were sitting on
the dick or the it was shrinking in size once. Or do you think the dick grew in size or shrunk in size after they have to go do their protest?
Shrunk for sure. They go, "I wish I didn't just pop a fucking Viagra right now. I got to go do a protest quick." But
yeah, it seems like such a bad waste of your party day.
Yeah. Well, it was later in the day. I guess they were all partied out, and then this is just a little icing on the cake. We're gonna go protest a bigot on Pride. Are you kidding me? But we were just watching them, and then there was like two of them.
The tear goes down their eyes. The perfect day.
Can't get better. And then they're watching him. Or whatever, we're watching them, and then like there's two of them, and then all of a sudden there's like 20 of them, but then a bunch of them left. I guess they're just like, this is...
Yeah, it was pretty low-key.
Yeah, they're like, I don't know.
Well, they weren't inside the club, so they're just standing outside the club, and it's sort of on the street. So
the club was hating it too.
Yeah, they didn't like it.
They were not happy about this. And the funny too is the event.
He came down. He just came down. This guy comes down and does one set in New York. He does one stand-up set in New York. He's already the most protested comedian in the whole fucking city.
Yeah. And the funny thing too is it was an anti-vax event. The event was an anti-vax event, but it wasn't anything about.
Oh, because it was what's her face? Is Cheryl from Curb Your Enthusiasm's husband?
Yeah, Robert Kennedy Jr. So, and then there's lady who was at the event comes out, and all these LGBT people are protesting, and she's like, "What's going on?" And they're like, "You bigot!" And she's like, "My kid's trans. Like, I actually like really care about.
I just don't like the vaccine."
Yeah, she's like, "I don't want to kill kids with vaccines." So that's where I'm at.
That's how it became
And people
trans.
are calling her a
That's how my
bigot,
kid
and she
became
wants to
trans.
be like, no, I'm one of you. Like, I love trans. Like,
Except
I just don't want to give them vaccines.
And then what did they say when she said that?
They were just like, they're not listening. They're just like, well, you're at this event, blah, blah, blah. Like, this is blah, bigots.
The bigot central.
Yeah, it's all that stuff, And then they left. Alex ripped up a couple of their signs.
You were there. Yeah, I left. You were having a fucking ball over there. Danny was sending me videos every 2 seconds. Well, there's some bad news. Okay, so there's a couple different interesting articles. But the first one is, this is just a little fucking quick thing. There's bad news for you. America's obsession with freedom is making men fat, says this study.
That's what's my problem.
So I've noticed ever since Danny moved to America, he has been sort of Mr. Freedom guy, right?
I am. I love freedom so much.
Well, if America obsession with freedom is making people fat, you can call Danny Braveheart.
Brave fart.
That's what. Oh, there you go. That's what. No, what Danny does is Danny walks into McDonald's and then they go, "Sir, I think you've had enough," and you go, "No, that's you." When they cut you off at the buffet,
They cut me off at the McDonald's. He goes, "Sir, we don't want your business."
yeah,
Okay?
sir, you can't, you can't fucking fit through the door. You can't get in. Then you bust through like the Kool-Aid man. Go with your freedom. No, that before you bust through the door with like the Kool-Aid man, your perfect imprint is what you do is you put on your Confederate flag do-rag. Freedom!
I mean, it's an interesting theory. I don't know
It's a
if I'm
stupid theory.
I don't know.
They
if
go,
I'm
a new
buying
study
it.
looks at the social traits of obesity rates, and it found that countries that value individualism have higher body mass and index rates. But this is kind of that lazy journalism where you take you basically take two things and say one's because of the other, but the one first thing also comes with 90 other things. Because really, the answer is that countries that have more money are fatter.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
countries that have
Except
more money.
for Samoa. That's where the fat people
in general.
Yeah. But I can't imagine they're like the freest place on earth.
Why are Samoans so fat?
I think it's just like genetic. They're giants.
Okay.
They're all just massive people.
Maybe they're not all fat. Maybe they're all big. Like the Rock's not fat.
Rock's not fat, but they're most.
Oh, you're calling the Rock fat?
No.
Fellow freedom brother.
Fellow
freedom
brother.
fighter.
Freedom.
I'm a freedom fighter.
I think there's a crew of fucking just fat people and rascals who go, "We're freedom fighters."
Also, it's so funny because obviously, like all the fat, like fucking feminist college chicks or whatever that are super body positive, all probably hate freedom so much.
Yeah, they go, "We need way less freedom." You go, "You're not gonna like what that tastes like."
yeah. So it's funny calling them like, I have that joke. The doctor's 30% less brave.
Yeah.
Could you be 30% less freedom oriented? Say, just doing the charts here. It seems like you've been enjoying a lot of freedom. Fucking
too much.
Tell you what hasn't been enjoying freedom: the shoes. Their shoes have not been enjoying freedom.
No, the insoles.
So I don't know about that theory, but
Yeah, bad theory, lazy theory.
Men in particular think I'm an individual. Don't tell me what to do. I'm not going to eat what I eat. This is, some says Fielding. This is like a university.
I think it
professor
starts
guy.
with the premise of this. Just straight up starts with like Asians are, smaller and Americans are fatter. What's the difference?
Yeah, in
And
countries
they go,
that are dirt poor that don't have a lot of freedom.
Yeah, but I mean,
also are skinnier.
Japan's not dirt poor, but they are still. But there could be genetic things here. They're obviously smaller people.
Japan has a decent amount of freedom, though.
Yeah.
Well, here's a perfect example.
But they're more conformist society.
Here's a question: if you look at the different Asian countries,
Yeah.
are the ones that are more free, more fat?
I wonder what no.
Okay, so there you go. Right,
Yeah.
there's debunked.
I think Japan would
Debunked.
be the freest.
Right, in Japan, Japanese people aren't fat either. But then
No.
the sumo wrestlers maybe they're looking at sumo wrestlers.
Maybe.
Give me freedom or give me death. But when you say that, when someone's telling you, like, sir, I think you've had enough. Do you say that? I'm an individual. Do not tell me what to do.
I say, don't
I'm a
tread on
libertas,
me,
if you
pal.
will. Yeah, don't tread on me.
I wear a "Don't Tread on Me" bib at the buffet. I go, "You're gonna best be stepping."
You reach for your gun. You got a fucking open carry at the buffet.
Dude, I can't wait till we start seeing fucking guns with just people with guns on the subway, and you go, "Is this a problem?" I go, "No, it's not."
Yeah.
It's totally legal now.
That's crazy. A homeless guy having open carry. But yeah,
It's the law.
yeah. The speaking of actually, which I there was the most racist. We always do like whenever there's something woke racist. There's obviously like we get tagged in it a bunch.
Yeah.
But dude, the LA Times is out of control with their.
They're basically like the Daily Beast, but
Yeah.
but pretending to be like an actual newspaper.
But I love a good, woke racist or whatever, right? But they did a column, is California ready for more black people to legally carry guns in public? So this is, because one of the arguments that they always kind of say is that, I've even seen this made as like a satire video a lot where they go, people are, super fine with guns until it's, black people. And I think there was some truth to that when the Black Panthers started arming, people got warmed up to gun control a little bit more.
For sure.
Right?
Well, assuming this article is correct, they say right when the Black Panthers, there was like a law passed in the 70s, like days later, that restricted gun ownership.
Yeah,
in California.
But I think now the first part about it is that they're obviously the ones that think that, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like they don't want guns, and it's like, well, they're trying to be like, well, actually, you don't care, but if you actually, the truth is, it's what you look like. Like if I see a guy that's got like a, whatever version of like kind of. If it looks like a right-wing guy,
Yeah.
I wouldn't care if he's white or black. But if it looks like a crackhead,
Yes.
I also wouldn't care if it's white or black.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like
If
you,
I see
you
a-
can tell, yeah, 100%.
If I see a white guy showed up with like, he's got one shoe on,
I mean, nobody's
Or
ever
like
crossed the
a-
street on any person of any color that was wearing a nice suit.
yeah.
Like they just don't do that. It's not like nobody's like sees a black person in a suit and go, "Oh, I should cross the street." Like this just doesn't happen. Like
When you see the people on, like, I promise you, when you're seeing people that you're afraid of on the subway, where you go, I'm gonna maybe move one car over.
Yeah.
This guy looks unstable. It's a pretty equal opportunity situation.
yeah, I mean,
in terms of
generally a
race.
good tell
it's
is,
all guys.
is the open sores and they're like,
Right.
cutting their arm
Yeah.
actively, and you go, "Yeah, I don't even look at the race of that."
But there's no scenario where you'd see, you'd see a guy in a fucking, cowboy hat with his open carry, and I would care more that he's any sort of any
Remember
race.
right before COVID? I don't know if you were there. I'm pretty sure at the Stand, and I was in the bathroom at the Stand Comedy Club. This is before COVID hit, and there was a guy with a gun in his this old dude, and he had a gun in his waistband.
Yeah.
like he had a pistol.
Are you allowed to do that at this? in New
So
York right now?
I was like, "What is going on?" I was asking people, and we were just moved there, and someone was saying he's probably
Yo, how's that
a
guy not
police-
fat?
probably
I'm
a
so fat.
It's probably a police officer who's like, I guess, can carry it, but he straight up just like had a gun in his waistband. Like,
Apparently, cops are supposed to, no matter, they're like always technically on duty. You know that?
I did not know that.
So if you're a cop and you're at cops will get in trouble for things like this, where it's like they'll be out at a store or whatever, and there'll be a robbery or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And the cop doesn't help. They're technically supposed to at all times, no matter what.
I mean, I could, I guess, kind of understand that a bit. But what if you don't carry your gun all the time?
But you have to. You're supposed to.
Really?
Apparently, there is some loopholes. It's a bit wishy-washy because you're also not supposed to intervene if you've had anything to drink. So it's like, well, then
So just always be drinking on your time off.
right. So it's a kind of
That
a
way it's
complicated thing.
actually
I
time
actually am talking shit. I don't know the exact laws, but I know that if you're an off-duty cop, you are supposed to intervene at all times. But they were like, in this article, the way that they were talking about it was just, they go, Nathan Jones leads the Bay Area chapter of the Black Gun Ownership Association, but until a few years ago, he wasn't even into guns. So it's kind of the way that they're even...
Yeah, and I mean, I understand the main argument they're putting forward is that black people are going to carry guns, and then police are just going to shoot them dead.
That's not the argument they're
Well,
making.
I think they're trying to say the worst case scenario. of this
That's
is-
you sort of giving them a better argument than the one they're making.
Or maybe,
'Cause that's
yeah.
actually somewhat of you could see that argument being like, gun ownership for just like if that's your point,
like
you
the
go,
Philando Castile thing, the guy in Minnesota who got shot in the front seat of his car. He's like, I have a gun legally, and
Right.
they shot him, and they're like, okay, he didn't do anything. Like,
no, but if they were making that point, but they're kind of not. They're saying that all these racists in California,
right? You're like, white people, are you ready for this?
Yeah, I'm pretty
More
sure you're
people having
racist.
guns?
Yeah. And they're putting dark music on it. It's kind of like, Nathan Jones leads the Bay Area chapter of the Black Gun Ownership Association. A few years ago, he wasn't even into guns.
A few years ago, he wasn't even into guns.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what they're saying. Like, are you ready for black man with a gun? That's the way they're spinning it. Right? And then they go, it was in 1967 that members of the Black Panther Party for self-defense staged a protest at the California Capitol. Armed with handguns and shotguns they normally use to protect black neighborhoods in Oakland. They announced at the time that they had come for black people to arm themselves against this terror before it's too late. And then they went inside. So it's almost...
And then they went inside.
Black man with a gun coming to your neighborhood. Are you ready, you bigot?
I welcome it.
Yeah, I mean, whatever, right? So it kind of is almost like it's like their point is sort of a point against them because they're basically saying like, if we weren't racist, we wouldn't care about this, but you are racist. And then people are like,
but we all are very racist.
yeah. And then people are like, good news, we're not racist, so it'll actually be fine. And they go, we are. You know?
Yeah, and they also can't think of any good reason why anybody should have a gun, so they have to just straight up be like, no guns.
Still, over the last few years, as Americans have stocked up on guns at record rates, it is black people, especially women, who have been buying them the most.
Do you think they buy pink guns?
Doesn't that seem not true? That women are buying guns the most?
I think you're saying among black people, black women are buying more guns than black men.
Is that because they, you know, they're going to walk alone late at night in these neighborhoods or something? So it's like, why is that a problem? Yeah, you go, if you are a woman and you go, hey, I live in like a bad neighborhood,
yeah,
and I have to walk alone at night and I feel unsafe.
I mean, I'll tell you why that's a problem, because it hasn't happened yet, but it's only a matter of time before all these cases of women go to put their lipstick on and they shoot themselves in the face. Whoops, that wasn't my lipstick.
Yeah, girls are reaching in for their blush.
You know.
Let me just do my eyeliner.
I just broke the chair.
Forgot to take the safety off. Yeah, that is probably that's probably the issue with this whole thing, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Let me just apply some of my blush here, and so that's the problem with that. But yeah, I guess how is that? It does seem like an intersectional nightmare where you have a black woman that feels unsafe walking home in the neighborhood, and they got rid of all the cops.
And a gun is a good solution.
And they're saying like, we don't want you to have any cops. It's kind of that Trudeau thing where when he was saying, did you see the clip of him where? So Justin Trudeau was basically saying in Canada, he goes, I'm paraphrasing, but basically the idea is if you're at your house and someone comes in,
you shouldn't be able to defend yourself.
And they're gonna, shoot your family or whatever, or should you be able to shoot them? And he was like, no, you do not have that right. And it was just like, okay, well, here in the real world, like no one's gonna let their family get shot.
No, even if it means that you're like, I might go to jail for this. I mean, New York, I think I talked about this, but New York has this law. I think they're working on repealing this too, where you have a duty if you're not at home and someone attacks you, you have to run away. You can't just go like. If someone's attacking you, you can't just go kick their ass, even if they have a gun and you don't have anything. Like, you have to run away.
Such bizarre kind of laws, right?
Yeah. These weird laws that protect criminals, like pretty specifically, too.
Yeah, you're just like, you're like legally you have to run away. It's like, yeah, basically this is Supreme Court. Probably not. It's probably, I don't know if it's federal, but it's like the state
this
court.
This is a state, yeah.
The state court ruled that it's imperative for you to be a bitch. Basically, yeah, they're like, well, you're a bitch, so it shouldn't be a problem, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it probably just the odd time when, I don't know, someone kills their attacker and there's I don't know, it's a misunderstanding or something. I don't know. It seems crazy.
When they said, it's like, we're all for equal rights and blah, 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 but they're still uneasy when it comes to the idea of black folks being legally armed. Well, it sounds like they
don't want anybody to be armed.
Yeah, exactly. But it's such a brutal argument because their argument is, hey, this will be bad for you because you're racist, right? And everyone's like, yeah, I'm not. And they go,
no, you are.
Yeah. And they
the fact is you won't admit it.
Who is this supposed to convince? Like, who is this argument even supposed to convince?
LA
Where you-
liberals.
But that already think this?
Well,
But-
I mean, these people aren't changing minds. They're all yelling. Fucking
Yeah, but you
in
think
an
it would
echo
change?
chamber.
The only effect it could have is you go to some liberal and you go, hey, good thing they're racist because it'll help our gun thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then everyone's like, I guess good thing they're racist.
Yeah, I guess racism is
good. Yeah, the logical conclusion of this is like racism is good, I guess, because it helps us.
That's what I've been saying.
Anyways, there's some fucking wild
LA
takes
Times
right
has
now.
some crazy shit.
Okay, so David Hogg's been my favorite right now. Can I
The
read?
Hogg.
Okay, David Hogg pops out every once in a while, and he's got some pretty good ones. They're very, very like guy that trying to crush pussy things. But this is what he said about the abortion thing. He goes, I've seen hundreds of tweets about telling women to stop having sex if they don't want to get pregnant, but I've seen 0 calls for men to be celibate. It will never cease to amaze me how little men are blamed for getting pregnant. This is about control and the patriarchy. And then I think after he posted that, he sort of took off his pants and he goes, "A cufflum. It's Hogg time.
It's feeding time, ladies.
Hey, ladies, get to your trough because it is Hogg time." Did you see? He probably, if David Hogg was smart, he would, go around the like super liberal college campuses wearing his tweets on his shirt, and he goes, "Just so you know, this is what I think. It's time for some Hogg."
Yeah, him over at Harvard.
Yeah.
Who ready for the hoe?
yeah. I guess people call me, hey, lady, you look like a motorcycle because you better ride this Hogg. You look like a biker.
Oh, baby, you in the Hells Angels? Because you about to ride this hoe. What?
Did you not see my tweet?
Yeah, no?
My tweet shirt?
I was in a school shooting. That's why I'm famous.
Yeah, you look like you were part of John's disciples. What? It's a biker gang. Because you were about to fucking ride this here old fat ass Hogg.
That's a
But
pretty wordy tweet.
It's just a funny tweet because he was just like, well, it's girls saying that for starters. Second of all, none of them are doing it. It's
No.
it is funny for like the 1 or 2 guys that does have like the 1 or 2, Mr. Progressive, kind of like Brooklyn or California type guy, and his wife's, she's probably gotten fat, she's got a wacky hairdo, and she's like, yeah, because abortion is illegal in a different state, I'm going on like a sex strike for a month, and the guy's like, yeah, but I also think that, and he was like, well, then you should think the strike's good, and he's like, well, we can get abortions here, and she's like, yeah, but someone else can't.
For now.
Yeah, so there probably is 1 or 2 people that try to do that.
There are some dudes whose wives are going on sex strikes, and they're just like,
yes, thank God. Well, that's the thing with this guy.
honey, just a month?
Yeah, honestly, we should do a year, I think.
Really? Do you think a month's going to really do anything, though? Like, in a month, like, these women are still going to not have any of their rights.
We probably need to go a little longer than a month, no?
I think a year, at least.
Yeah, we're going to want to fucking raise those numbers a bit, baby girl. Honestly, we should just go on a sex strike and just exercise to really show them a lesson.
Maybe jog.
Yeah.
Really. Eat well.
Maybe even get a job. Really fucking teach these guys a lesson. You know what would really show them? You start to pay half the rent.
Yeah.
Just fucking
Just really stick it to the man.
stick it to the man. You know what? We should also go on eating corporations. So we're against corporations. No more McDonald's, right, babe? Stick it to these people. No more Burger King. We're not going to do Uber Eats anymore. Yeah.
How many
You're just
people you think, honestly doing a sex strike right now?
The thing is with these, I don't think that many, but I also think it's so funny because he's like, he's like, we don't see any men talking about going on a sex strike? It's like, yeah, because no one's actually doing it. And this is all like people saying, imagine a man coming out and being like, until abortion's back, I'm on a sex strike.
Yeah. Watch out for that guy.
Yeah, honest to God, right? It's just like a crazy person thing to say. A girl would fucking cross the picket line for 2 seconds. And also, any man who's like, why aren't guys going on a sex strike? It's like, well, they either live in a place where it's legal or they have $500 or they agree with it.
Yeah.
It's one of those 3. It's like they either could, live somewhere where this doesn't affect them or
Yeah. Also, a sex strike doesn't really hit the same when you have to announce it. Like you go, hey everybody, I'd like to publicly announce, and you go, this is like the lamest shit I've ever seen. I'm like, hear this?
Yeah, and also it's like newsflash. How sex works is generally it's kind of up to the girl to decide.
Yeah,
It's like
I mean, again, yeah, that's true. They want all the power, so.
well, they just naturally, that's how dating works. I mean, you always have to argue with girls about that, where they're just like, honestly, it's equal. It's like, okay, well then, like, I want every girl to have sex with me. It's like, well, they get to decide. It's like, okay, so it's not equal. Well, guess what? See that guy sitting over there at that college? If 10 girls walked up to him and asked him to go fuck in the bathroom right now, he'll do it with 9 of them.
Yeah.
And then he kept going. He had another good part of his tweet. He said, ultimately, it doesn't matter, blah, 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 blah. And he goes, a lot of cap locks. He goes, well, the reason men don't care is because we are the like he does a lot of cap locks, right? And he goes, also, where are the calls for all men who are not in a position of power to have a child to get vasectomies? If you really hate abortion, then that makes it basically impossible, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, so why aren't men getting vasectomies? There is a couple guys that did get one.
Yeah, I'm sure. But again, at the same time, you're like, men, like, in a very many instances, it's, a teenager getting knocked up by another teenager, where we're giving teenagers vasectomies.
He goes, why isn't the conversation saying that? And it was like, because they don't care.
Why don't we just sterilize boys?
Sterilize all boys.
Yeah.
I mean, they sort of
sterilize them
are
now.
doing that. I don't know if you've seen the literature is what's happening.
They're mentally sterilizing them.
They're mentally sterilizing.
Soon will be
but they're
chemical
also
castration.
they're also sterilizing them with a certain type of hormone blocker. I'm going to take a quick second here to tell you about one of our favorite sponsors, and especially it's a Canadian company, Fume. Now, you guys all know that they've been trying to get rid of vaping, and we've been saying for the last 2 weeks anyway that it's time to get off.
Yeah.
You don't want to be out there vaping. And if you are interested, we've been telling you about alternatives. Now, Fume is one that you want to get on here. You got to quit the darts. You got to quit the vape.
You don't want to be on the darts.
You don't want to be that person that wakes up first thing in the you're searching for the vape. I was with Justin Silver. He was trying to quit vaping. He threw it in the garbage, then he picked it out of the garbage.
Ugh. I remember when I used to smoke, I would wake up in the middle of the night and just have a cigarette.
Oh, you got to get out of that game. Now, Fume is a great way to quit. What makes Fume unique? It's a natural inhaler designed for a better, safer, more natural way to quit cigarettes. No smoke, no vape, no nicotine replacement for the hand-to-mouth habit of smoking. It's handcrafted wooden inhalers that use cores infused with plant oil studied to curb cravings. So lots of cool flavors, cozy chai, lemon berry bliss, and more. Great reviews. And although it can be tough to quit, Fume can give you a helping hand. And I got a whole bunch of them. I've been telling my friends about them. And it's about time for the whole crew to get fit and to get off all that dart-related shit.
Get fuming.
Get fuming. So try it. If you just get one thing, we got a discount code. Give it a shot. Whether you're a smoker or ex-smoker who still struggles with cravings, Fume is the perfect tool for you. So head to breathefume.com/boyscast. Use the promo code BOYSCAST to save 10% off your entire order. 10% off your entire order at breathefume.com and promo code BOYSCAST. Quit naturally with Fume and use the code BOYSCAST to save 10% at breathefume.com/boyscast. Let's get back into it. Well, anyways, someone solved the whole problem with 7 TikTok dances you can do to save Roe vs. Wade.
Yeah.
And this is one of those ones where it's almost parody in and of itself, but the dances are pretty funny to
The
say.
dances and the coat hanger. The fact that there's in the image is a woman and a man and a coat hanger. Is the coat hanger supposed to be the aborted baby?
I think you do sort of like a soldier boy with a coat hanger. But they are the handmaids dance, and you sort of put your hands together, and you're like a handmaid.
Bloody ass pussy is the best.
I don't know how none of them was the worm. It doesn't really make sense to me.
The worm.
Well, obviously, so I guess some of them should be like do the ape or something like that, and you're just pounding your stomach. You know what I mean? I think they'd be more like
falling down the stairs.
Yeah, but like in a worm sort of thing. You ever seen people do the boat where you just go down and then sort of rock?
Yeah.
Like you think all of them would be like on the belly, they would save it. You know what I mean?
Or they're not thinking.
You know what would really?
You're thinking too practically.
I know.
There are way like this is avant-garde TikTok dances.
Well, I'm thinking because they're like, here's we don't have abortion. Here's what would save. Here's a dance that would sort of sort the whole thing out, right? To me, that dance would be hardcore dancing in a mosh pit.
Yeah.
Like, you want to go to a Black Flag show. I want to see Pierce the Veil.
Yeah. Or like drinking Drano.
Yeah, right. So these are the kind of things, but you have people.
Man, China is just having a big old laugh right now. With
You
all
think
this
they're having a
stuff.
chuckle?
They go, you hear this? They're doing abortion dances.
Yeah, they were forcing the abortions over there.
Yeah. As you should.
If you have a girl,
Yeah. But bloody ass pussy that's my favorite of the.
What was bloody ass pussy?
It's Cardi B, but instead of wet ass pussy, you got that bloody ass pussy. Just because there's a lot of blood, I guess, when you have an abortion.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then they have a can't touch this one where they go, can't touch this body. So it says can't touch this body. And you do can't touch this. But the idea is the government can't touch it, I think, is what they're saying.
Isn't MC Hammer a fairly religious man?
Yeah, he got real religious, man.
Yeah, I don't think he'd be very in favor of his intellectual property.
Well, I think his would be can't touch this to the abortion doctor.
Yeah.
Imagine that. Yeah. So MC Hammer sort of comes in, can't touch this, and he's talking to them. Oh, and then right, we'll never
They're
let
trying
the
to get the
abortion doctor
baby
touch
out.
our whims. He goes, the abortion doctor. That was for, and then the last one's the termination tango.
That's a good one.
This is a dance for those of us who had to make the difficult decision to terminate a pregnancy. It's also for those of us who will now be forced into that position by overturning Roe versus Wade. I think it's like a, I don't know if it's a Terminator. I never see the termination tango. Did you see that one?
No, I didn't see it.
Did they help? A lot of people are doing them. Did they help so far?
No.
Oh, okay.
I was honestly thinking, I was just about to say, I'm like, has anybody changed their mind about abortion? Like, or any sort of like volume of
we've
people?
seen, I'll tell you what, I have seen in the last few years 2 or 3 people that I know that changed their mind to be pro-life.
Yes. I actually, well, you see that. I've had people who call in a low value and they say like, yeah, I have kids now, so I'm pro-life now because I have 3 kids, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm not on board with abortions as I was when I didn't have any kids.
Yeah,
which makes sense.
It does make sense.
But I mean, I guess people who
it's
are
a bit more of a young person's issue.
Yeah, it is more of a young person's issue. That's true.
There is something. It's kind of that thing where they're like, it's a woman's issue. It's like really, it's a fucking 20s issue because there is something to be said about if you're like a 40-year-old dude and you have a kid. It's like. Unless it's, the old mistress. Yeah, whatever. We probably fucking, you know what I mean?
We'll keep it.
Yeah, fine. But one thing I was going to say is I did, there was a study, so I was looking up the abortion statistics. So, because there was a big article where it said the economic impact of the abortion thing, right? And it was kind of saying the U.S. will see devastating economic consequences. And they're basically arguing
by having more people.
Well, they're arguing that it's all poor people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's kind of the same. Like it's kind of a little bit like the gun thing, where they're like, all these poor people are going to get born. What do you think of that? And you're kind of like, what do you think of that? Right?
Yeah, where are you going?
Yeah.
with
Well,
this?
do you like this too? But there is probably some argument to be made where it's like a lot of. Well, put it this way. If you're 20 years old or whatever, you have a kid and you have no money, you're much more likely for that kid to be on welfare and all that
For
stuff.
sure,
So that is
yeah,
that
yeah.
argument. It's probably true, right?
100%.
So if people go to college, they're way more likely to have abortions. Low income, obviously, are way more likely to have abortions. And Biden voters are 68% more, and Trump voters were 33% more likely, right?
Which makes sense.
Which
if you
all
probably
makes
were
sense.
Religious stuff,
except for maybe the college part where it's like, so really a lot of what it is is people that went to college that are like 20. Like that's apparently like that's like a lot of it. So it's like they have no money, but that's because, so it'll say, you know, this person's like poor, but a lot of them is like a 22-year-old girl that kind of went to college, but she just, you know.
Yeah, doesn't want to, like, she has plans for her life.
Yeah, she works.
But doesn't involve having a child right now.
No, but I'm saying she's not actually, like a lot of the times they say they're poor.
Yeah.
But a lot of the poor people are like 21-year-olds that work part-time in a cafe or whatever.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not really like the poor people that like won't be poor is a lot different than poor people that like will be poor.
I was looking up actually.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I was looking up the high school because I was like, I wonder, do women still get pregnant when they're
like, who isn't poor when you're 21?
Yeah, exactly. But I was looking like, do women, you know, are women still getting pregnant in high school? And it's gone down a lot.
Apparently, yeah, people are
It's
having
down
sex
like
less in
it's
high
down.
school. Well, too busy making
and
TikTok
there's just
dances.
like, and there's just education and all that stuff. So it's like, I think it's 80%. It's down like 80% from I think like 20 years ago. But it's really low. Like I think it's 1% or something. Like 1.5 out of 1,000 girls will be a teenage mother, which is pretty low.
Well, I wanted to do predictions, and I was thinking, what do you think? Because I've been watching and sort of you know, commentating on, you know, the right and the left for a while, and where they're the same and where they're different, right?
Yes.
And I've been like, I feel like this is an interesting, like, pivotal moment where especially it's kind of like a big cultural win for the right, which is probably one of the first ones in a long time, and a few others are coming, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like it's always that thing of how does that affect culture? And I don't have and I've been sort of watching the tweets change, and I was sort of thinking, you know, how does this all affect culture and stuff like that? And I don't know for sure, but here's my prediction. And I was kind of thinking, looking at, and I was talking a bit last episode about like the Matt Walsh tweets or whatever. And I kind of read down, he said, "We are not done. We are not satisfied. A federal abortion ban nationwide is the next step," right?
Yeah.
And there was a part of me where it's kind of, it seemed like a little bit, there's the, you know, when nerds get power, they're always sort of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
that's
that's what, like, a lot of times it kind of reminded me of the woke stuff where it's like, it was
got a
like
taste.
it was
You
like
want some
nerds
more.
with a taste of power, you know what I mean?
Which
That's
is the left has been doing that for a lot.
right, and that was like most industries was nerds got a little too much power and feminine people, right? And I was kind of thinking that whether it's good or bad or whatever, I think that the Trump years for Republicans was like ultra masculine, right? It's almost like when people are, and this sort of goes back to my theory of whenever a power is getting acquired, it gets acquired with masculine what's the right word?
Energy?
Energy movements, messaging.
Okay.
And whenever power is being used, or abused, it's more of like a maternal energy, right?
Okay.
And that's just sort of the nature of things, right?
Interesting.
But so I was kind of thinking, and maybe I'm off base here, but like the Trump era was like a very fighting back energy. It was very like, you know, we're gonna fucking, you know, build this wall and we're gonna drain the swamp, and it was kind of like, you know, women aren't gonna tell us what to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was kind of a in a lot of people's eyes the like stop to you know. The
progress was going too far, I think.
Sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
So, but it felt like a masculine, like taking back or something, right? But then over the last 6 months, and whether you agree with it or not, maybe even the last 3 months, most of the right-wing causes have been very maternal in the sense of like, for example, the drag queen stuff, whether you agree with it or not, it's very like save the children. It's very like, this is harmful to children.
Abortion is also save the children.
Abortion. So they're all like maternal arguments, right?
Okay.
Like everything to do with saving the children. And it's not to say that men can't be maternal or not paternal, but there is something to be said about the like messaging is very mom focused. And I've also noticed if you see some of the main right wing figures that are raising up, like even like think of like libs at TikTok or people like that, they're all women, right?
Yeah.
It's very
that is true. Yeah.
So I've noticed like more women figures sort of emerging in that space of like the save the children and stuff like that, right?
Okay.
So it's kind of the same thing of whether you think it's like good or bad. It just is a little more of like a feminine messaging that's all about like safety rather than like, you know, attaining. It's more about like attaining power, and this is more about like using the power to like for safety or something like that.
Okay.
So I don't know. What do you think of that? So so I'll finish to my thought then. I think that where it goes is you see, I think you see the right wing in the next like 10 to 15 years. I know like people like Destiny, last week he was saying he doesn't like to make predictions, a lot of people, but I do like to make predictions.
Yeah.
And I was saying that I think what you see because of that is the right wing over the next year or two start to be a little more kicking people out. So kind of how the left
Like
was
purity, kind of
a little
like-
more purity. So I think you see like people like that become a little more hostile to people like us, for example.
Yeah.
You know, and you already see it like, you know, kind of Dave Portnoy, who was probably like, you know, everyone's kind of mad at him right now because
he was the what was he, the conservative bro, or they were saying he was
right.
like,
But how many, I think up until that point, most conservatives were kind of like, yo, anyone that's kind of against this stuff is on board, against cans, whatever, right?
Yeah.
And I think you're going to start seeing more of like kicking people out.
Well, for
like,
sure,
this
when you
guy's
start
not
making
a real right wing guy.
Yeah. Well, it's just there's like they keep changing what their main issue is, so it's easy to get like, you know, when it's all the pronoun stuff, and you get all these people who are just like, yeah, that's crazy, and then they go, okay, we're going back to like the meat and potatoes abortion, and then a lot of those people are like, no, actually, but like, yeah, the pronouns I think are nuts, but I'm for abortion, and they're like, oh yeah, you.
Yeah, you know what?
It's just there's all these overlapping things where they choose the new top thing, I guess.
And that is true, but I think the combining that with the idea that really you need to essentially, I think there was when you're gaining power, it's more like, hey, anyone who thinks one of these things is in the club, and then when you're using power, it's like, here's the 10 things you need to think.
Yeah.
And if you don't think
that is actually a good way of putting it. Yeah. Do you think there's any chance we'll see a female Republican president going along with this theory?
that's an interesting point.
Yeah.
I think you do. I think you start to see the emergence of like a lot more female
Maybe
Republicans
DeSantis goes
in this
trans.
space. DeSantis goes trans. And then on the other side, I've even watched, you know, and this is, they're gaslighting fiends, you know what I mean? Like
Women?
I would say like the corporate liberals
Yeah.
or whatever, right? But I've watched like a ton of people posting things like, everyone's trying to say that, you know, that we're celebrating abortions. No one is celebrating abortions, blah, blah. And it was just like, I just love someone to take that and like contrast it with like the abortion musicals and stuff. Like there was legitimately like, they were doing like abortion musicals. And so it's like, they're being like, oh, as if anyone thinks that. So they basically are, they're kicking out their extremists subtly by saying that.
Yeah.
And then, but because now that they're like lost that issue, they know that they can't win by like having an extremist platform. Once you're winning,
become more
you could be,
moderate.
they had no
Yeah.
choice but to be like, no, we're kind of saying like, obviously it's bad to have one. And it was like, well, you weren't 2 days ago.
No,
but-
you weren't 2 days
yeah,
ago.
Yeah, you were
and you're like,
saying,
oh, you're not celebrating it.
You're sure to
let's
say
see if they
scream.
go, oh, you know what, we messed up. We're going to reverse our decision.
Right.
We're going back to the old, people are going to be fucking dancing in the streets.
No, you had to fucking scream your abortion shirt on, right?
Yeah.
So, anyways, that's kind of like my
An interesting
prediction.
theory.
Of
So then
politics.
how are the... how do you see the left or the right, I guess, regaining power? I guess it's
Well, I
going to
think
go back.
it goes back and forth
Yeah.
a little bit, yeah.
I do really wonder how this is going to go as like
So it's sort of
in terms of a
temporary.
voting issue, because there's an election.
This is me saying leading into the election or whatever.
But not the midterms. You're saying the presidential elections, because we have elections coming up now, essentially in 3 months. And I do wonder, like on these moderate states, who they're swing states, if they're going to start voting, being like, you know what, we didn't want this, not to like this.
right.
You go like, we were, you know, we like our government staying out of our business stuff, but we still want to get abortions occasionally.
Yeah, I mean, fucking if you had a crazy night, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Just want to get them occasionally. It's like I quit smoking. You quit smoking, but it's like a fucking one or two
Yeah.
here and there.
Dude, you can't get Plan Bs instead of the fucking the ration Plan B
Uh-huh.
pills now.
So then on the other side of it, I thought this was a pretty fucking banger. Was so there was, I guess, one thing that there's a cuckolding article, and everyone was sort of getting mad at Sneeko and or whatever, but they even said in the
And
article.
Destiny, they're calling him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they go another cuck. He's not even a
Well,
cuck.
there is a difference between.
Sneeko's literally getting cucked.
Well, yeah, but the one thing I will say is there's a difference between. I mean, whatever, who cares? But like, I guess there's a difference between people being swingers.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he wasn't like the true definition.
They were
is
saying
you're,
like, I want to
sitting
bang
in
this
the corner
girl. Yes.
crying.
No,
that's
they're-
a real.
The one is like, I'm gonna bang the, like, I want to go to this sex party and like part of the deal is she's got to get banged.
Yeah, yeah.
And the other is like, no, I'm good.
Yeah,
we're here for like that's my.
I'm just
thing.
here to cry in the corner. That's like really what it is.
Well, this one, the Daily Beast. Remember when I did that Vice article and I found like 90 articles about why cucking's so great? Dude, Vice, if you type in like Vice cuck, there was a while where like every week they had a new article that was like, it's actually pretty sick to be a cuck. Is being a cuck the new being straight? And everyone's like, I don't think so. But this is so good. It goes, Cuckolding, the sex fetish site for intellectuals. And basically...
Why is this has to do with intellectuals?
Well, their sort of thing is like, I'm a bit of an aristocrat. You know what I mean?
Well, it's because literally the person writing it fancies themselves a bit of an intellectual. I go, I am a writer for the Daily Beast, so I'm no dummy, and I love watching my girlfriend get fucked.
This is kind of...
hate it.
Yeah. This is kind of what it is, right? They have sort of an attitude of like it's watching your girlfriend getting fucked by you, but you have a monocle in. You're sort of sitting in the corner with like your cane and your monocle and your top hat. You know what I mean? Like an aristocrat.
With your handkerchief dabbing away the tears.
Yeah. You're like, how long's it been? You look at your pocket watch. Like another few minutes to go. Yeah, so it's basically like, I'm not just a cuck. I'm just like, who told you to talk?
I'm a modern cuck.
I'm a modern cuck. So they fancy themselves as sort of an intellectual pursuit. You know what I mean? They go, it's S&M, in which men watch their wives have sex, is catching on among people with high IQs.
Oh, okay. All right.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
This is some pretty good stuff, though, right?
Hi. Just the fact here, these two things are not correlated. I will bet anything.
Yeah, I can't...
Fuck off.
Well, they're trying to say that, yeah, it's a very... Well, this is that oldest thing in the book. It's like a lot of... It's that, like, I went to college, which I think that I'm smarter than everyone, but it's like, what they mean is they've been educated, but it's like, really what they mean is they've been indoctrinated by, like, fucking nonsense.
But
it doesn't make your IQ higher.
No. Hell no. How could that be related where your IQ, your, like, ability intellectually has anything to do with you watching your girlfriend get fucked and liking it, but also hating it?
Yeah, well, I think that they see it all into, if you're into watching CNN, watching your girlfriend.
Like this is
just
probably
like an intellectual.
This is the foreign films of sex. This is the foreign films of sex.
Yeah, it's sort of like
oh, you like Top Gun? Dummy, I like watching my wife get fucked by a random guy.
That is exactly, it's the boutique version, you know what I mean? Like, oh, you go to Starbucks, I watch my wife have sex. Everything's just back to that. Oh, interesting. You like going to Burger King? Well, I'm over here watching my wife have sex with another man.
Yeah, so.
And we have hors d'oeuvres.
Hors d'oeuvres, that's French.
Yeah, but that's the kind of high class thing that they're having at their cuck sessions. Like, you're
I
sitting
didn't know.
there.
Maybe I didn't realize cuckolding was so high class.
It's very high class operation.
I thought swinging was higher class than cuckoldry.
No, swinging.
Well,
like
swinging in the
fucking
sense that
dirt
you can have those
balls.
like high end sex parties and stuff, and
okay,
they wear the masks.
For every high end sex
Yeah,
party,
I know. Yeah, those are.
There's 90 fucking baseball moms just getting you.
Just moves the gut.
You never did the comedy show
I
at
did.
the Swingers Club.
We talked about it.
Yeah, so you saw those people as high class. No, this is, it is a girl, a woman named Delilah.
Delilah? I was going to go with Barb.
Yeah, Barb's the classic, but I feel like we always say Barb. I was trying to come up with something better, and I didn't, and you called me out on it.
You did not. Barb's go-to.
Let's see you think of something better on the spot that hasn't already been said.
What's your mom's name?
My mom's name is Ezekiel.
Ezekiel? Oh, Ezekiel.
What's the most Jewish name ever? Mary?
The only no Jewish name ever for a woman. There is this one thing I've noticed this, that the name Bailey.
That's very Jewish.
I've only known the name Bailey for female
Robbie?
Jews and dogs. It's weird. I've only seen dogs and female Jewish women named Bailey.
Well, I would say that swingers are like, I'm picturing like a guy that lives in a trailer almost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm picturing a guy.
Girl.
I'm picturing.
But I'm also picturing that for cuckolds.
Well, you pictured wrong because he's
Yeah.
wearing a top hat and a
He goes, you call this a trailer? This is a 2021 Airstream.
No.
This thing is fucking...
I think there is the new swingers probably that have like, the pink hair and he's the gay.
Yeah.
Basically. But there's probably the old school.
like the key party.
Yeah, I think he looks like the blogger character, essentially. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think there's two versions. There's the guy that looks like he works at the Daily Beast. You know what I mean? Like, he's very nerdy or something like that. And then there's the other version.
Bro.
No, not bro-ish. The Daily Beast guy. And then the other version is like, he looks like a bisexual cuck.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. But not an actual cuck.
That's the new version of swingers,
It's not
too.
you're not talking about, he's not a cuck in terms of actually liking cuckoldry.
Maybe you don't know
not-
who.
not
Maybe the cucks. That's the thing. You don't know. Most people, that's what I've been saying about gay
The
people.
only cuck
is
I
like
know is
it's-
JJ, and he's not classy.
Yeah, but he's the gay one.
Right.
He's not there's a difference between being like a cuck and being gay. You know what I mean? You're like,
yeah, of course. JJ seems to bridge that gap.
you're like, oh, you're watching, you like watching your girl have sex with a guy. It's like, no, I like watching this hunky guy bang some slut that I live with, that I'm like in a,
But there's such
that
a-
I'm in a platonic the relationship.
But they have
with
this whole
because I'm trying
element
to-
that they talk about of like the,
I hate myself.
humiliation. Where
I
you're like,
know.
where you're like, I hate it and love it at the same time.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why they think it's such a smart man's game. Because they go, what? How can you hold two opposing feelings at the exact same time?
It's a thinking man's
It's a
sex.
thinking man's game. Y'all are playing checkers over there at your swingers party. I'm playing chess. Watching my wife get fucked.
That's what they think. It's sort of a thinking man's thing, right?
So stupid.
The fact that they're pitching the idea that this is a high IQ thing, who revel in the psychological agony. So it's like they're operating on a
Yeah.
different psychological plane than you. You know what I
Totally.
mean?
Yeah.
Look at they're saying low IQ guys are like, look at that rack, and then
Yeah.
whereas a high IQ guy would be like, oh, look at that rack. Love to see it fucking get taken away from me.
But, yeah. It's basically like swingers like reading like Danielle Steele novels, like with Fabio on the cover, and then cucks like reading like the Da Vinci Code. They're like, they're like,
I think probably there's a lot of swinger guys who are just like so much over their chick, where it's like you're just like, oh,
yeah, they go, this is literally like the thread that is keeping this relationship together. Is the fact we could do this.
Yeah, and they're just like, what do you not care that she's having sex with other guys? It's like, better him than me. It's just, swingers club is just a bunch of fat people trying to be in like, you want my wife? And everyone's like, you want mine? You go, I
It's
guess.
just dudes just fucking just drinking beer naked at the bar. The swingers club, right?
Yeah, no one has any interest
Nobody's
in any of these
fucking-
women.
Chicks are just talking about stuff over there, wearing their weird shit.
Yeah, so he goes, cuckolding is rapidly emerging as the alt-sex fetish choice for American intellectuals. This is a guy definitely trying to, it is 100% a rationalization of a person that's into this, you know what I mean?
Oh, big time.
Or a girl being like, oh, my man's an intellectual, you know what I mean? She's not, no, I'm not dating some
Well,
like
it's
weirdo.
written by a chick.
Yeah, that's what I mean. She's like, I'm not dating some weirdo. My man's an intellectual.
They're all are. Like, is the bull in the scenario? Like, are they all smart people? Like, is this like a Mensa thing?
No, that's what did you see the part of the article where they said that in the article they said they had to do the caveat that there's also like a problematic racial component.
yeah.
So funny. They had to say that there's like a problematic part of the
Do you think they're
cuckolding.
smart people that go, we don't, any race is welcome?
Well, it is true because they were basically not saying the bull's an intellectual. They're saying it's just their cuck that's the intellectual.
That is problematic, you fucking geniuses.
Yeah. Can I have some caviar? Nom, 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 nom. So I don't think this is rapidly emerging as the choice fetish for American intellectuals.
No. I mean, let's ask.
It's for America pseudo. It's the choice for like fucking Democrat like people that are trying to interact with all this like new woke nonsense in a way that affirms their own identity and ideological.
giving yourself a pat on the back,
Yeah.
for like, your weird thing.
They're like, oh, look at these Trump guys having sex with their own wife.
who's watching? No one. You peasants.
Oh, Oh, my wife really got it last night. By you? That's it. I guess you were probably breaking a sweat.
Oh, that's rich.
Oh, that's rich. I don't even take my shirt off. I'm in the they're in the corner with one of those long cigarettes.
Yeah, the super long ones, like the penguin.
Oh, yeah, I'd fucking like to give it to her. You? Hey, did you hear this, Stefan? This construction worker bangs his own wife. Oh, what's the matter? Can't afford a bull.
Must be so weird to be like knowing people like that, or like this chick, and you're just like a black guy, and you're like, I don't really want to be around you. I don't.
Yeah,
it's like what you like. It's probably like the guy's like, yeah, I'm not into any weird stuff. And
I can't imagine the black guy like. Well, that was part of the article too, and they were just like, what if you really want to step up the game? They have like an intimate connection where you basically watch the guy on a date with the wife, and they're sitting in the hotel room like chatting and stuff, and then you're in the back. That'd be like. It's probably hard to get the like black guy on board, the black guy to be on board with all that stuff. He's like, hey, do you mind sitting there naked and cuddling with her? He's like, actually, I just called my Uber.
Yeah, I'm good on that. He goes, why don't you stop being such a bitch and you take over?
Yeah, why don't you take over the cuddling?
That wasn't part of the deal.
But the deal, I strictly involved. Yeah, imagine some guy's like, yeah, you want to come bang my wife? And yeah, I got to watch. And then like some fucking drunk dude, like, it's like, fine, whatever, fuck it, man. He couldn't find anything at the bar. And he goes, whatever, dude, I'll come smash this chick while this weirdo's in the corner. And then afterwards, he's like, do you guys mind cuddling and talking about your feelings? That would really appreciate that. You go, can you shut that guy up? Like I said, I'd be here.
Yeah, it's really me fucking losing my boner right now.
That's definitely how this goes. Yeah. I have a request. Would you stroke harder, sir? Sitting in the corner, smoking his fucking long Corella DeVille dart.
Yeah, getting ready for fucking polo tomorrow. Big polo crowd.
Look at those hamstrings. Yeah, he probably is, his hands so soft he's never done a damn manual labor in his life. Spending daddy's money on some prostitute. Male prostitute.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think that this is actually happening.
No.
But cuckolding is rapidly emerging as that. Just check out the online forums at ourhotwives.org. It's really, it's those are the two. It's Mensa and then ourhotwives.org.
.org.
If
I
you
like
look-
that it is .org though. That is something a smart guy would do. Go, our pornography ends in .org.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
That's a thinking man's website.
You go to .com for your pornography? Rich. It's very, very pedestrian of you.
Yeah, that is. You're like .com with the
pornography is .org or .edu.
Yeah, shit.
Got some chair problems? I was having some chair problems too, man.
Have the chair problems figured out. That is a high class man's website. He's on Pornhub.org. What's Pornhub.org? It's mainly guys banging my wife.
Yeah. It's mostly just videos of me in the corner.
So he goes,
Remember the good old days when you just kept this shit to yourself?
I'm totally dude.
Just do it and tell nobody.
No one needs to know this, pal.
Yeah.
Ourhotwives.org. So if you were hiring someone for
let me
your
check
business,
out ourhotwives.org.
Oh yeah.
No. They make you take a skill testing
don't
question.
Oh, yeah. I'm just like, I'd rather you didn't. A note about our founder, right?
No.
Yeah. When you sign up to do get your wife.
What, I got to tell them pi to 14 digits? What the fuck? Not smart enough to be a cuck. Good shit.
Yeah, so you got to do a lot of skill testing questions at ourhotwives.com. That's generally when you're looking for a genius. You go,
Yeah.
there's only one person that could solve this case. We don't have anyone smart enough. There's only one place. You go to the cuck convention and you go, listen, guys, we got a problem. There's an atomic bomb that's about to go off and we need someone to rewire all the code. The guy's smoking a cigarette in the side of the room while his wife's getting banged. He goes, in a second. He goes, we only have a minute. He goes, I could do it 3 times in a minute. That guy could come.
That's more than enough time.
Yeah, that would be more than enough time. He's just walking really slow because he's not in any hurry. I don't even need to see the full code. Where letter-perfect postings celebrate cuckoldry as a cerebral pursuit. So these cucks are really up their own asses right now.
Term cerebral.
So these cucks are really up their own asses being like, yo, we're pretty smart, huh, guys?
This is so fucking nerve.
No, Danny, this is what's happening.
Like they're being like literally elitist about kinks.
No, Danny. So the guy's in the corner watching his wife is getting banged and solving Rubik's Cube.
Looks up, he goes, very good. He goes, if you don't finish by the time I finish this Rubik's Cube, you don't get your bonus, DeAndre. Oh, fuck.
Yeah, you definitely want your bonus, DeAndre.
Shit.
Yeah, he's just doing a Rubik's Cube in one hand with just one hand, and he's solving a crossword puzzle with the other hand. Doing his LSATs.
Yeah, you know.
He just does his LSATs for fun. He doesn't want to be a lawyer.
Yeah.
Just be a fun pastime. Okay, so it's a dangerous game involving jealousy, misery, gratitude. So now it's dangerous. She's ever of dangerous.
Oh,
intellectual
danger too.
pursuit. It's a dangerous game. So Paul said he remembers Paul says he remembers walking in his parents once and realizing he was too young to realize what was going on and what they were doing in bed. And they said, get out. And he knew there was something exciting about that. So that's he was intellectual from a young age. So from a young age, he was getting cucked by his parents when he liked the idea.
Rubik's Cube. He accidentally walks in. He goes, what is this?
Yeah, so his parents kicked him out of the room when they were having sex, and he liked that.
Yeah, he liked that.
That excited him to be kicked out of somewhere.
Is it, if assuming that that's true?
Well, at least he became a cuck and not like a rapist.
That's true.
Because they're like, hey, he liked being told he can't do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it is interesting if that's true. Like how little it takes for you to totally change who you are as a person. Like the path you're on, like just like he walks into his parents having sex, that's a hard fork. As he goes, I'm a cuck now.
Probably took him a few years for someone to say.
But I'm saying that's the incident. He goes, I never walked in. He goes, I just plow my wife like fucking, just, you know.
I'd be the stupid
put on my hard hat on and just plow my wife.
I'd
like
probably be working on a construction site.
Yeah, he goes, I would have never had this giant brain, this IQ, nothing.
I'd be working for the town, smoking cigarettes, taking coffee breaks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Driving around a city truck, taking the long route. Okay, so that's some good stuff right there. Gonna take another quick second here to tell the fellas about Keeps. This is something that everyone deals with. 2 out of 3 men will experience some form of hair loss by the time they're 35. More than 50 million men in the U.S. suffer from male pattern baldness. Keeps is the solution. More 5-star reviews than any of its competitors, and there's only 2 FDA-approved medications that can prevent hair loss, and Keeps offers both of these puppies. So I personally have been telling people about Keeps. We got a couple of our boys on it, and this is something that if you're starting to go bald, which everyone eventually does, whether you're thinning or male pattern, everyone deals with this shit to some degree, or at least almost everyone. I think everyone. I don't think there's a single person in the world that's 80 years old that has as thick as they were before. So it's a simple, affordable, and stress-free way to keep your hair via convenient virtual doctor consultations, so you don't delivered straight to your door every 3 months, so you don't have to leave your home. 24/7 care and support. Keeps as a network of expert medical advisors, prescribers, and care specialists, and it's low cost. That's a big part of this. Treatments start at just $10 a month, and Keep offers generic versions to the FDA-approved medications to prevent hair loss. Treatment plans are affordable, typically half the cost of the pharmacy prices, and Keeps has everything your hair needs delivered straight to your door with discreet packaging and proven results. Remember, prevention is key. Treatment can take 4 to 6 months to see results, so act fast. When it comes to your hair, save more, spend less. And if you're ready to take action to prevent hair loss, go to keeps.com/boyscast to receive your first month of treatment for free. Keeps.com/boyscast to get your first month of treatment for free. Keeps.com/boyscast. Let's get into it. we had a friend of ours who we haven't seen probably since we moved to New York, but Nick Nemeroff died, and is pretty an interesting, kind of crazy.
It's really crappy.
So one thing that I was thinking, he's the man, and we actually did a sketch that was on my YouTube channel back in the day. I don't think it did very many views, but we made this like short film called Animals, if you want to look it up. He was the guy that played the bird watcher. I think Danny posted it too, but he was like, he was like a rare talent where I remember that was when he first started doing stand up, and I remember just watching him on stage and being like, kind of making a note of like, oh, I want to put him in something.
Yeah, he's just super.
He was so unique, and he had these like weird jokes where he would go, he would basically say stuff like, he goes, you know, people call me Mr. Nemeroff. That's my dad's name. You can call me Mr. Nemeroff Jr. or whatever. He goes, I know what you guys are thinking. I look like a mix between Ted and Joanne Nemeroff. But I don't know, he just had all these like one-liners. He was super funny dude, and he was like nice, and everyone like kind of beloved, and he had some. But it was interesting that the first part was, I was thinking, I go, so every year, you know, it's one thing when comedians die when they're like 60, but it's like, I know 5 or 6 comedians that have died that are, you know, in their 20s and early 30s, right?
Yeah, it happens.
I don't know a single person from music. I don't know a single person from, you know, high school or college. None of my college friends randomly died. I don't know one from film.
That's a good point,
I don't really know any. I know older people, but I don't know anyone like our age that just randomly died. And in comedy, I know 8.
Yeah, that is true. I never
It's
thought
nuts.
about that. I just always assume that there's a general depression because generally they're killing themselves. He didn't. But
well, we don't know.
We don't
to
know
be
that.
honest.
We don't know that.
And
That's not what they're saying.
Yeah.
And I think that's so. What's going on? What you're getting at is they just said he died, and then now it's been latched on.
Well, it's been interesting to watch the media pick it up, and it's always interesting because everyone kind of knows that, you know, the media spins their narratives or whatever, right? But so in my own personal thing, he died, and we're kind of all messaging in our comedian group chats being like, oh, brutal, like, you know, does anyone know what happened? And it's sort of like a hush. You know, a lot of times these things are like hush hush. Yeah. And then, remember the guy from, remember the guy who's the Grapist sketch? It was like one of the funniest sketches of all time. The whitest kids.
Oh, the whitest, yeah.
So that guy died, and it was kind of like, you know, what happened, and they sort of said one thing, and then it was all speculation. And then like 2 months later, they kind of tell you what happened. So a lot of times when someone dies, the family doesn't really tell you what actually happened.
They're
right?
like they're dealing with all sorts of shit that's not like caring what the public
But
knows
basically,
about it.
you know, all these websites and the, you know, Fox News and the Daily Wire were all posting like, basically that this was evidence of like the vaccine.
Well, they're not saying
people,
it, but they know that they know
question.
the fact that they're making this a story. Like, again, more importantly, we know many comedians who have died. Not international news.
Right.
You know, and it's not like, you know, I'm not trying to like disparage him, but like he wasn't like Russell Peters. Like he was known in Canada, but he wasn't like this international guy where it would be all over the world, which it is. And what's happening is it's kind of interesting, at least this is my opinion on it, is that they're like these sites are just being like, hey, this comedian died, here you go, knowing that this is going to be shared among the anti-vax world as being like, see, this is a sign of this. And that's how the signal boost is. I mean, someone's watching this right now being like, what are you guys, stupid?
Yeah,
obviously
someone's probably
that's
thinking
what
that
it
does.
is.
But it's like the reason, and the thing is when it's your own, when it's someone that you like have, you know, personal, you know, the thing is like, and again, I have no idea, but there's been a million cases where, you know, again, I have no idea, but someone's like, ODs, and then the person says this, or someone commits suicide. And like, we've had people that commit suicide, and the parent said something else. And I'm not at all saying that happened to him. But the bottom line is, no one really knows, right?
No, and also like I had a friend of a friend who like he was probably my age, and he just had a heart attack and died, and that is what happened.
Yeah,
and that does I mean, dude, there's a lot of people like that does legitimately happen. It happened before COVID ever existed, you know, and but yeah, you know, that's just like there's this narrative that people are looking for data points for, and then but like it's just interesting that the news is almost complicit, even if it's not on the right. Like it's literally like these left-wing outlets who are just saying like, here's what happens, and like, but you're like, yeah, but you're posting this not because you really care. I think like in the back of their minds they know like this is gonna go far because of these people.
Yeah,
Signal
they're.
boosting
I see
it.
what you mean. Yeah,
That's what I. That's
it's kind of
what
like a dirty game.
It
yeah.
is dirty game. Yeah.
all around.
Yeah,
but it was
so-
like the truth is there could actually be like a real answer that
He
comes
could
out
have a
tomorrow.
medical history that nobody knows about.
There
because
could be a huge medical
most
history
people
that no one
don't
knows
share
about.
Shit, like yeah. So, anyways, I thought it was kind of sleazy a bit what was going on
Yeah, and you're just like, no one knows, and they're just like,
and bizarre. Like the whole
yeah,
thing
but
is-
yeah, it's probably not. You probably said it pretty good. I don't really need to comment on it more, but a lot of comedians die, and it is just like, Jesus Christ.
yeah.
Right?
I mean, there are a lot of depressed comedians, and then in Canada is just even more depressing.
Well, that's what a lot of them. I mean, we know. Me and Danny probably personally know like 6 guys that have committed suicide.
Yeah, I think so.
Pretty wild.
I think so. Yeah. Not good.
Not good. Okay. Well, thanks for bringing everyone down.
Anyways, I gotta
But
get out
rest
of
in
here. I'm
peace.
gonna go watch this guy fuck my girlfriend with my top hat on. 'Cause I'm smart.
Okay, we have one more thing we're gonna do before we cut to the Patreon, and we went to this mines thing, and there was quite the debacle. We'll talk about that.
Yes.
We're gonna get. I feel like we're gonna get into it. So if anyone, I feel like that's true. It was like
Speaking of cucking.
yeah, exactly. We kind of have our format a little down. Like we're going. We have when we do these interviews. 2 or 3 times a week. We'll do or a month. We'll do them on the Tuesday or Wednesday, and then we do our episode with us on the Friday, and then we're doing when we have like real kind of like inside scoop that might be interested to like super fan, people who are like actually fans, but maybe not casual listeners. We'll do that on the Patreon. I think we got our starting to like take shape, and our numbers are
the ecosystem
all going up. So it's been
the universe.
No,
the BOYSCAST universe.
I'm super pumped. So anyone who's subscribed to the new channel, we appreciate you. But if you want to subscribe, patreon.com/theboyscast, and we'll talk about all the Mines Festival and all the kind of like inside like baseball shit that like went down. I was in like a fucking debacle.
I know.
All right. So the one thing we're just gonna like do one because we revisit this every once in a while, but we went to the tulpa, and this one was related to the kink thing. That's why I wanted to do it after. But this woman said, I created a tulpa for a kink. It nearly broke me, and now I'm in recovery. Right? Did you read this one yet?
Yeah.
It's a little long, right? But the whole idea is this woman is essentially saying that she spent all this time creating this tulpa, and now the tulpa has sort of got a mind of its own. She's at war with the
It's like
tulpa.
the whole AI thing, right?
Yeah, the tulpa.
The robots are sentient.
Her tulpa became sentient, right?
So stupid.
But this one's really good. She goes, I'm so shaky today. Mantras and triggers constantly going off in my head. At the very back. This one, even more so than the last one, has like the horror movie vibe in my head. At the very back. In the dark corner, I'm trying to heal. That used to be ideal for me. My head being crowded up with training. And there's just echoes of years of conditioning reverberating everywhere. The good girl. Bimbo doll. That's who she created, right? So Bimbo doll is the problem, right? She created this Bimbo doll, and the Bimbo doll is kind of like,
Bimbo dolls.
hey, it's me. The Bimbo, and then Tulpa's like, right. Who knows what I'll get up to? Yeah, that's but she said, I think she said the Bimbo doll is kinky, right? So the Bimbo doll is kind of like, hey, I was thinking about strangling us with a belt. Wouldn't that be kinky? What do you think of a knife play?
Oh,
Yeah.
Bimbo doll.
Bimbo doll. So she's
make sure it's sharp. Bimbo doll. Oh, that's not how you do knife play, Bimbo doll.
Bimbo doll.
Ooh.
What about one of those big, just pointy knives that all the serial killers use? Maybe we'll just jump on it. Just kidding. Or am I?
Bimbo doll.
Bimbo doll. So Bimbo doll's living inside of her body, right? And she's having a real problem keeping Bimbo. Because the problem is she spent years sort of resurrecting Bimbo doll, doing all the Bimbo spells and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably hard to go into work at her like regular day job, and then people are like, what are all those like cuts all over your neck? And she goes, what? And she looks and she
Bimbo
goes,
doll.
"Oh, Bimbo doll.
Fucking Bimbo doll.
Bimbo doll.
Hey, I was just thinking, wouldn't it be funny if we just lied in front of a car? Bimbo doll. You're a pretty Barbie doll. That particular sentence plays in my ear a lot. So basically the Bimbo doll is being like, we're a Barbie. That's us.
We're a Barbie.
We're a pretty little bimbo doll. She's like, I'm going to go to work. She goes, bimbos don't go to work.
Bimbos hustle.
Bimbos don't go to work. It's like, but I have to go to my job. I don't think we are going to go to our job today. And she goes, but I don't want to. Well, I made up my mind.
It's like a little Chucky scenario.
It's Chucky. You didn't realize we were doing Chucky for the last 10 minutes?
I was not been doing Chucky. I've not been doing Chucky.
I thought you were doing Chucky.
Nah.
That particular sentence plays a lot. For 5 years, I've been brainwashing myself with an insidious group of hypnotic audio files called Bambi Sleep. So she's basically has playing the records
Did she
backwards.
make them?
I think she finds them. Like I think there's this Tulpa literature.
We should try to find some Bambi Sleep
Oh, that'd be good.
to listen to.
Yeah, find some Bambi Sleep. Even reading the name of the series, which is in and of itself one of my many triggers I programmed into myself, is enough. So she has triggers that she programs. So someone will, she's kind of walking around and someone's like, hey, it's cold out. Is it?
You want to fuck me in that dumpster? What?
Bimbo doll. Triggers enough to make my head tingle. At a certain point, this is what I wanted. I hated myself so much. I decided to join a cult to help me eradicate myself, or at least to try to. So she tried to turn herself completely into Bimbo doll. What she wasn't expecting is she created a tulpa and split down the middle. I mean, the whole thing sounds like a mushroom trip. If anyone's ever had a really bad mushroom trip.
Yeah.
It's like, some of them, it's just like, you don't believe them. So just like where they're like, I have 600 personalities, where it's like, you don't. This one, it was like, you're having a psychological break. You need to be in a fucking mental institution.
I found Bambi Sleep, by the way.
Okay.
It's a
So
website, bambisleep.com.
And what does it do?
It just says deep bimbo erotic hypnosis.
Do you want to play a little bit?
Sure. There's sessions. Oh, that's quite the rack on this.
Do you have to play for it? Is it free? Ooh.
Bambi Bimbo doll. This is just the page.
Oh.
Yeah.
So this turns you into a bimbo. Bimbo's got a fucking gun set on her.
Wait, this works? This is like we've come to the dark side.
Bimbo
it's
doll
only
conditioning therapy.
Here
Oh,
we
you got to
go.
pay
It's
for it.
Age restricted content. I'm an adult.
What, you don't have? You're not signed into YouTube?
I am signed into YouTube.
All right. Let me read this.
You
while
read it.
look
I'm
at
going to
that.
pull up some Bimbo Sleep.
Yeah, Bimbo Sleep. Bambi wanted to break me. So Bambi is coming at her. Bambi wanted to break me. She was going to take me over and destroy me if she could. The files encourage that. What was that?
This is Bimbo Sleep.
Okay, put your mic on it a little bit. So she's been just listening to this for 4 years straight.
Apparently, this makes you a huge whore.
And you just have to press. This is it?
This is it. Yeah, this is what made her this psycho.
It's just this? This is called Bimbo Drone. This is the starting one.
This is 0. Yeah, this is the first one. This has 50,000 views on it.
So there's that many girls trying to make a bimbo? It's like, lady,
I mean,
I'll-
obviously a guy invented this. This isn't a chick. Some dude in fucking Sri Lanka made this.
Find some more. What the hell is that?
That's all it is. It's like hypnosis.
That is so funny though. Your chick, you comes home, you got this stuff playing on her computer.
Completely susceptible to hypnosis. A docile bimbo dolly. She is so perfectly trained now, and she has had so much
does sound like a
practice
horror movie.
that her weak bimbo mind just knows exactly what to do.
This is
Whenever it
scary.
hears my voice, allowing itself to be completely suppressed, allowing all conscious thought to be instantly erased.
Yo, am I turning into a bimbo right now?
With the wonderfully comforting words in her ears.
So it's like this freaky ass shit.
You
So
ever heard of a white noise machine? No wonder you're turning into this.
yeah, what are you doing? So you've been listening to this for 4 years, you psychopath?
Okay, by the way, if people are listening to this, just when your girlfriend falls asleep, turn the shit on, report back to us in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, but the I mean, you don't want your girlfriend to be a bimbo. You want to be like the girl that won't bang you at the office is to be a bimbo.
Just to make it the elevator music at your workplace. What is this? Or, I don't know. It's from Europe. It's trendy over there. Though. It's real cool in Europe.
Yeah.
They're digging this
This
shit,
feels
man.
like what the type of thing that you'd have like a dentist that like gets, you know what I mean?
He gets like in a lot of trouble. He's been playing
bimbo fucking audio.
Yeah.
What the hell?
It's weird that it's age restricted too. There's no comments.
Well, I mean,
it's actually, they call it Bambi sleep or Bim. It's there's a couple of things. But
they're not trying to make. Yeah, they're trying to make adults into bimbos. I guess at least that's good.
All right. Well, so I guess, and what she's saying is it worked a bit.
So it worked too good.
Yeah.
That's messed up. But who would? I don't understand the idea where you go, you listen to that, and you go, I'm trying to become more of a bimbo. It's like, what is it? What does it get you? So she's got this bimbo inside of her, and she won't stop talking to her. So it's split her brain up. This girl's having a real. This girl doesn't have a tulpa. She is literal.
Yeah,
she's fucked up her brain. Dissociative disorder.
Yeah.
And she goes, Bambi wanted to break me. It does play it again. It does feel like someone that wants to break you.
It does. Yeah, there is like a.
Imagine you're trying to sleep and your own brain's doing this to you. No. Yeah.
All these effects become stronger and stronger. The deeper she sinks, as she succumbs to slumber, as Bambi sleeps, such a blissfully blank
Bimbo's getting
bimbo,
banged in the background, I
noticing
think.
herself, if she notices anything at all, instantly agreeing with everything that's said, feeling so happy. And
Instantly
relaxed
agreeing.
to
Yeah,
show
that's not
herself
bad, eh?
so automatically and so completely that her conscious thoughts and the commands in her head just begin to meld into one.
How good is this, Jenny? This is what happens. You say you're going to do an abortion protest, and then you freaking bring everyone into like Madison Square Gardens, and then lock the doors and put this.
Yeah, like the religious right, like rents out Madison Square Gardens, a psyop, fucking trick all these liberals to come in and go, hit it!
You are a stupid retard.
Accepting
Abortions are good or
and
bad, I
forgetting
mean.
my commands, because forgetting feels wonderful.
Forgetting feels wonderful.
All right.
Oh,
Gonna get us
wow.
kicked off of YouTube with this shit. I want to know what the layer is. I can't make it out, like the subconscious subliminal layer that's underneath. That's like
Yeah,
a
I couldn't
different.
make it
I
out,
can't
too.
make out what they're saying.
You know what
That's
it probably
probably some
is?
real wild shit.
No,
The
no.
stuff-
You know what it probably is underneath? It's like Starbucks, $4.99. It's like
yeah.
It's straight up like
Yeah,
got
yeah.
infiltrated by. No, it wasn't even something big like that. It's like Joe's Auto. Shop at Joe's Auto.
Oh, but Joe's Auto. That'd be great.
Don't forget to.
Don't
forget to
yeah, just some
change.
fucking. You know what it is the smart dude at the auto mechanic shop. He's like a Goodwill Hunting type who he's really into cuckoldry, right? Because he's the smart guy at the shop, and then he's like, "Yeah, we need more bimbos and less just assholes coming in here and set this up." And then
Yeah, we need some talent coming in
We need a
here.
little more talent that we could hose and then something to look at.
Don't forget to get your oil change. You're a bimbo.
Every 5,000 miles.
Don't forget to get your oil.
Synthetic oil. Don't cheap out.
Want to get that stick changed at Jim's Auto Mechanic? It's Jim's. It's a bad leg. It's like it doesn't even have a catchy jingle. It's Jim's. It's Jim's Auto.
What's the opposite of a bimbo? What's like a male bimbo?
Mimbo is
Mimbo?
what the Seinfeld thing was, right?
Right.
Holy shit, this Bambi shit is nuts. Oh, Bambi wanted to break me. She's and she wants me bound, gagged, blindfolded, and locked away in a part of my head that I could never escape from. So the bimbo wants to lock like her away, so she has to just sit there while bimbo AI sort of just deals with
Does all
everything,
the freaky
right?
shit.
Does all the freaky shit. She's just in the back while she's just in the fucking back of that. This is the 9th oil change this week.
We can't afford this.
Oops, I spilled the oil again. She succeeded yesterday in breaking me down to the point I couldn't even get to work. Okay, well now she just like took the day off work. She's blaming it on Bimbo.
I need a mental health day.
Bimbo has been acting up. She calls the boss and she's like, "Hey, I don't think I'm going to come into work today." She goes, "Why?" She goes, "I'm nothing." And she goes, okay, let's.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right,
Just work from home. Just get your work.
Yeah, just don't come in ever. How you don't come in ever again? As soon as I clocked in from deep within the void of my headspace, she began this annoying little chant. It was to the tune of "Nanny, nanny, boo, boo." Nanny, nanny, boo, boo. That's what the bimbo's saying to her. You thought you got rid of me? You thought you got rid of me? You thought you got rid of me? Oh, I think that's part of the chant. You thought you got rid of me.
Yeah, all right.
Swing sets in the background, fucking just blowing in the wind.
Yeah.
This is some dark shit. She'd giggle using my mouth. And after 4 hours of that, I couldn't handle it anymore. I ran to the bathroom, and she looked in the mirror. And then that's when Bimbo took over her face and smiled at her and laughed. So she's looking at Bimbo, took over her face. I mean, this is, just anyone that took too much fucking drugs. Right?
Yeah.
She's using my voice. Here we are. I was having a conversation with the Bimbo that possessed my body, and she didn't want to leave. Bimbo wasn't going nowhere. It's like, Bimbos don't like to leave your house once they're in there. I can tell you from experience.
That's pretty standard.
Bimbos,
Bimbo.
You're telling me that the Bimbo didn't want to leave in the morning, huh? The Bimbo wanted you to... The Bimbo was about to unpack her suitcase in your nice condo is what was happening.
I'd like to see a new Ghostbusters where they're like looking for bimbos to come to the house. They're like... Got their bimbo detector. Their bimbo detector is just a vial of cocaine. They go, I think she's over there.
The cocaine just disappeared.
They open the cocaine. And it goes like, and it goes, got it. We got her. Everything's okay. And then they all leave. They go, we're going to go party with this bimbo.
Yeah, we're taking the Bimbo to the rave. But you can leave her there. The Bimbo didn't want to leave her house. So she's looking at the Bimbo, and the Bimbo's looking at her. She goes, any sane woman who is something to... She goes, I ran into the bathroom and was going to sit down in the toilet like any sane woman who has something taunting them would. So she's saying she's a sane woman.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, and fucking cucks are geniuses, too.
Oh, what?
And cucks are geniuses.
Cucks are geniuses.
You're sane.
You're sane. But I stopped at the mirror, and she smiled wickedly at me. The look in her eyes was crazed. So I said in my voice... She said, using my voice, here we are. I was having a conversation with a Bimbo that possessed my body, and I didn't want her to leave. I was talking to my Tulpa. I came out of the bathroom sobbing. I told my store manager. So this is happening when she's at work.
Yeah, she's on her.
She's on her shift at fucking.
There's a giant lineup at the
she's at
checkout.
her shift working sales at Jim's Auto. She doesn't realize she's like fucking ground zero.
She's been working there for 25 years.
She is Jim.
Yeah, she is Jim. She has like a disassociation. She's making these YouTube videos.
That she doesn't realize she was the whole thing, the person the whole time. Classic. I told my store manager between gas, but it's the Bimbo was like there was just some normal girl that she's the Jim's Auto that took over the Bimbo's body. There was just some Bimbo, you know.
Yeah. It's always just some Bimbo.
Maybe it was that. Maybe that's what happened, huh? That's a hypothesis. I told my store manager between gasps I was having a rough day and I needed to go home. But you are home. You've always been home.
We're all family at Jim's Auto.
This is fucking great. I needed to go home, and now I'm sitting here and wondering, is she really gone? I hope so. And then that's when you just hear drip, drip, drip. It's like, and then she goes and looks, the motor oil was going down the drain. Time for a refill. Credits.
Honestly, this sounds like a better movie than most of the fucking
garbage. That'd be a great movie.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Bimbo?
Just off the top, like this Bimbo Tulpa
That's
thing.
a great movie. Bimbo Tulpa.
Yeah.
So I want to get the deal on that. Thank you, everyone, for checking out. Thank you, everyone, for who's watching the BOYSCAST. We all appreciate you all. And patreon.com/theboyscast.
We got a banger.
We got a banger, and we got another Tulpa thing, too. And there's actually a bunch of different things. So y'all know what it is.
Y'all know what it do.
Peace.
BOYSCAST, the
You can tell our friends.
the bros, the dudes, the homies.
Dead.
BOYSCAST is the dogs, the birds, the brothers, amigos.